Gemara went and told a fascinating anecdote related to Yehuda bar Nechemya, that when Yehuda bar Nechemya quote unquote stumped Reb Tarfon was quiet, Yehuda bar Nechemya was savu panav. Rabbi Akiva didn't like it, and Rabbi Akiva told him it would be a chiddush to me im tarich yamim if you're going to have a arichos yamim. And then Rabbi Yehuda bar Abdilai, who's the famous Rabbi Yehuda, who's a Talmid Rabbi Akiva, who was an eyewitness to these events, he says, I want you to know the story took place exactly 2 weeks before Pesach, and I guess all the Chachamim were in Eretz Yisrael and they were tzazamin, they were being Oile Regel. He said, I came back to Eretz Yisrael Shavuos time. That's the next time you have a mitzvah to be in Eretz Yisrael to be Oile Regel. He said, I was looking for Yehuda bar Nechemya. I couldn't find him, and they told me that he had died, and it was clearly because of the words that came out of Rabbi Akiva. Just one ha'ara before we go weiter, and that is, I saw Rabbi Margolis in a sefer in the Tzutzayar. So he makes a beautiful observation. He said, when did Yehuda bar Nechemya die? It sounds like he died sometime after Pesach and sometime before Shavuos, right? This Maisa happened right before Pesach. It sounds like Rabbi Yehuda was in Eretz Yisrael for Pesach, came back for Shavuos, and he found out that Yehuda bar Nechemya wasn't alive anymore. He died being difchala atzarta. So he says, take a look at the Gemara, Yimesachtes Yevamis, Daf Samach Aleph on the base, the Gemara that everybody knows. The Gemara says Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 Talmidim. The Kulon Mesu beperek echad. They all died during the same tkufa. And what was the tkufa that they died? It was between Pesach and Shavuos. And why did they die between Pesach and Shavuos? Shloinagu kovid zelazeh, because they were mevazah Talmidei Chachamim. Says Rabbi Margolis is a precedent from the great Talmidei Rabbi Akiva that they died because they were loinagu kovid zelazeh. And when did they die? During this tkufa. He says this Yehuda bar Nechemya literally had the misa of Talmidei Rabbi Akiva. He was mevazah Talmud Chacham on some level, Reb Tarfon, and he died mamish during the Zelbet Kufa. And by the way, who is the one that said to Miani would be a chiddush if you're going to make it out alive? It was Rabbi Akiva who had experience with this. But the bottom line is, he died misas Talmid Rabbi Akiva ba'oisa perik mamish, and he lakes su does Rabbi Margolis that we know the Gemara says in Masechtes Shabbos Daf Kuf Men Zayin Amud Beis that Shmuel the doctor said all the different in Yonei Refuah work best between Pesach and Shavuos. That's the time that they're the most effective. We've mentioned many times over the years that the Hilchos Chassam Sofer, in Chedush Chassam Sofer al Hashas, and that Gemara says this is the Makar to Chodesh Iyar, being the Chodesh HaMesugal Refuah, Iyar is Rosh Tevis, Ani Havaya Roifecha. He said it comes from this Gemara. It's the one complete month between Pesach and Shavuos. So it says Rabbi Margolis that if you think about it, it's Hepech HaSfara, right? This is a Kufa, it says man of Refuah. So what's going on over here? And the truth is the Marsha already makes this observation. The Marsha in the Gemara Yevamis that says that Talmid Rabbi Akiva all died by Isa Perik. The Gemara says they died because of a machla, because of Misas Askara. Says the Marsha, take a look at the Gemara in Shabbos Kuf Mem Zayin. This is a man that's supposed to be Mesugal Refuah, and Afilu Hachi they died. And this is a chiddush that despite the fact that it's a man of Refuah they died. But says Rabbi Margolis, what's the oimik? What's takapshat? Why are all these people dying during this tkufa? He says because the Gemara says Kol Mavaza Talmud Chacham Ein refuah lemakasai. And he says, Kubi, that's exactly the point of Chazal. That during this tkufa, which is a tkufa where people are supposed to have refuahs and yeshuas, afilu hachi kula mesu ba'isa perek. Why? Because they were mevazah Talmidei Chachamim. Because kol mevazah Talmud Chacham ein refuah lemakasai. It's all connected. This is the cheshbon. Either way, a very, very light anecdote tucked away here in Menachos Daf Samach Ches Amud Beis.